Welcome to the future of money. Come with us on this journey into the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, and crypto projects. You're going to meet the trailblazers. These people have changed my life, and they may very well do the same for you. Typically, I like to take the weekend off, but I've managed to convince Baloo to jump back on. Thank you for joining us, mate.
I've been the most bullish bear on YouTube for a while, and I think I'm going to start living up to my name a little bit in the short term.
All right.
I think that we're kind of past the crossroads. We were kind of neutralized. I can go through it if you'd like.
Yes, please. Let's have a look at BTC first. What do you think's going down or up?
I'll let you know my sentiment here. So, as I've mentioned several times, both on my own channel and here on Hard Forking, is, we're looking at this structure, higher highs, higher lows. The rallies started to shorten and we got to our all-time high and we got our first lower low, lower than this low right here. And now we came up for our first lower high and it concluded to the downside for, again, a lower low than this one. So now we're in a technical downtrend. So I always trade with the trend. The trend is your friend until it ends. If you try to front run a bullish idea in a downtrend, you're going to have a bad time. So that's just kind of the nature of where I think we are currently. Where we turn around, I don't know. That's not so much the point. The point is when you're in these types of environments, you need to slow down. You need to chill. You need to reassess. You maybe need to consolidate. And you need to, if you're kind of more of an experienced trader, kind of cover some of your positions. So I actually covered, I found myself overexposed to altcoins. I had too many altcoins. So I kind of just took the sum of all of my altcoin positions together in terms of USD value. And I saw the bearish setup on BTC and I covered in a short position to cover their losses. It's not a one-to-one cover because alts are obviously more volatile than BTC. But at the time of the short, I just kind of consolidated the value of those altcoins to reduce their downside risk with a Bitcoin short. That was up at around $57,000 right at the top of this bearish candle. And we're in a downtrend. We're kind of just heading down. I can go down to the smaller time frames. Like if we take a look at the 1 hour, we are actually, let's go to the 4 hour first. I'll just work my way down from the daily. So, we're kind of stuck in this channel, this downward sloping channel here. We're trying to find support down here on the 4 hour. If I go down to the 1 hour and kind of zoom into this area where I covered my short, we were just knocking around in here. The price looked really bad. When you have a lot of space on the available inside of the consolidation, like there's a lot of space here. We didn't spend a lot of time consolidating on the bottom. That's kind of something that I look for. A lot of people also kind of look at it as a bit of an M pattern. You get these rallies that fail, rally that fails, and then eventually it resolves to the downside. The bias is kind of temporarily bearish right now. So I'm just going down time frame by time frame just to monitor the continuation of this downtrend. And if I go down to the 15-minute, another distribution, almost fractal in nature, where we have this downsloping line here. So, I've got some pretty bearish targets. Now, when I have a bearish target, it's not me saying that's where I think we're going to go. It's me saying the market is kind of turning and I'm happy to be a buyer at certain value zones. So for me, it's kind of down here, which I've labeled the golden pocket. 32, don't think it's going to happen. 38, I think it's likely. I think it has a possibility of happening. And more likely, more realistic, if we do kind of resolve to the downside, would be kind of this 40K level, this 40 to 42. So, it's a shakeout. We need it. The space was too bullish. People were making money on dumb projects. And when that happens, they need a spanking. The last time we saw a structure similar to this was in the DeFi boom, the 2020 DeFi boom. People were making stupid yields in stupid projects, buying this, that, and the other, getting into the space, new participants, very good. We got people coming into crypto. Problem is they were buying all the wrong stuff. So this is part of it. This is part of the nature. So if you're showing up and you're getting wrecked, welcome to crypto. This is how it is. You'll reevaluate. You'll learn where the value is. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but this is kind of really necessary. And I am chomping at the bit to get my bids filled down here at 38. 38.8 is my bid on BTC. If we take a look at Ethereum, the altcoins are kind of in a different spot. Altcoins are doing phenomenally well. Their rebounds are really good. But yeah, even if we take a look at ETH, we're kind of at a little bit of a topping action here. I have this down sloping line of resistance. If we can break above that, we'll probably rally. Me and my group participants, our last entry in ETH was down at 2K, trimming profits along the way, damn near trimmed at the top. And my bearish targets are down here at 2,500. I think it needs, again, a price adjustment. My targets, again, don't have to be filled. I just think that in this type of environment where there's a lot of potential for profits to be taken into Bitcoin or into Tether, because a lot of the smarter investors that were selling all the noobs, these garbage projects, they're going to retreat, and there's going to be a price adjustment. That is pretty much the most bearish I've been in 2 years. But yeah, it's
you
kind
are
of
Baloo the bear. So
I know, and I've been
Baloo the bull.
I'm never going to be Baloo the bull because I survive the winters. You know, the bears forage, they go into hibernation, they survive the winters. The bulls kind of need to be fed all the time. I will survive the winter. If we take a look at some of the other ones that have been really doing well, Matic, congratulations, by the way. Matic has been on an absolute tear, just really, really completely parabolic at this point. It is kind of telling you to trim, but when you're in these types of scenarios, you can be overbought for a while. This is kind of
the RSI on this thing on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly is just overcooked. But
yeah.
There's momentum here. People have understood the narrative. You know, I think a lot of smart money has understood, okay, this layer 2 tech and the success of Ethereum are you know, very, very closely tied together here. So obviously we had the listing on Kraken the other day as well, which has clearly helped. We've had Aave come onto this platform as well. I mean, literally the same day that happened, this thing took off. So, and I know for a fact there's more big projects moving across to it as well. So I don't think it's finished, mate. I mean, what does the chart tell us on that?
Well,
hard to know though, eh? Because it's
here's the thing about RSI. What is RSI? RSI is the relative strength index. So the relative strength of this asset is at its highest point. It's very strong.
Yeah.
The upside room when you're in something that's so strong is very low. You know, we don't have much more that we can go because the bears will take over. People will start taking profits eventually. Like we're at high levels where it's kind of hard to get a continuation. You're not going to 3x, okay? Not until we kind of reset. But we have a lot of strength. So it's kind of a double-edged sword using the RSI as a trim indicator. I think it's definitely an appropriate time to be trimming and maybe locking in. Sometimes when I just don't want to close the position, what I will often do is, you know, if a typical trim is maybe 5%, 10%, instead of actually selling the 5 or 10%, just put a 5 or 10% stop loss at the last daily candle. It's effectively the same thing, except you get to carry your whole position to higher levels. So yeah, as long as you don't get stopped out, that's one technique that you can kind of employ. But yeah, hot and frothy, but Bitcoin looks ready to spoil the party, in my opinion.
Hey, no, that's not what I wanted to hear.
I'm sorry, man. I just look at the charts. We're in a downtrend, and the trend will be a downtrend until it's not. And that's hard for people to understand because we are in a bull market and we are seeing a lot of bullish follow through. But the reality is we're not decorrelated from Bitcoin yet. Altcoins are poised very well to, you know, show that they can recover quickly. But if Bitcoin does take a move down, things are going to slow down and we're going to reaccumulate. I think that this is kind of similar to what we've seen in previous cycles where you do get these large retracements. You're hearing a lot about this narrative of the institutions not allowing it to fall. They only have so much control. As the new participants show up into a volatile asset, I still think we can do 40% retracements. I do. That whole thing that, they're going to step in. Yeah, they're going to step in, but the market will be scared and the market order books will mark it down 40%, I think.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't think we've seen this much FUD around Bitcoin for as long as I can remember. We had the triple play. We had Elon Musk changing his tune out of nowhere. We had the Binance FUD as well.
And just the level of understanding. The level of understanding in the ecosystem is so bad. So when people are buying things that they don't understand, there needs to be a correction. That's like one of the things we call it a correction. Yes, it's a repricing, but it's also a correction in human behavior. What are you doing? What is this? This is Bitcoin dominance. We're just free falling. Nobody's buying Bitcoin. It's the most valuable asset in this ecosystem. It's the strongest form of money we've ever had. Yes, there's a lot of exciting other things out there, but people need a slap in the face. They need a slap into the face, and Bitcoin is going to do that. And it's going to do it in very typical Bitcoin fashion with a dump and an immediate pump. That's my call. Anyways, that's the speculative side. But I think that that's what's going to happen. It's going to shake out a bunch of people out of their altcoin positions. They're going to sit in Tether, and the only thing that's going to be pumping is Bitcoin, and they're all going to FOMO in. And then they'll learn, hey, Bitcoin can mess with you. Yeah,
I agree. It's a sleeping giant, and as you say, I think people have, the newbies that come into this market and they're driven by the friend who's had the 400% gain in some crazy project that person had no idea what it did in the first place. That's the reality. You know this. I know this. They're not buying into Bitcoin. So yes, there will be that slap in the face, and we'll see Bitcoin take off, in my opinion. But yeah, how low does it go before that happens is the question. So yeah, you've got your buy in it. Sorry, what was that position again?
I've got my bids at 38.8. If it goes there, it'll be a wick. That's why I've placed a bid. And you can probably catch something on a market buy somewhere. But if it does touch that, there's going to be a ton of buyers, and it's going to be a wick. So I typically wait for a turnaround. I wait for a reaction, and I wait for us to confirm bull before I buy. But that to me is beyond TA. If we hit it, I want to be a buyer. I have bids there. We don't have to hit. I'm not saying we will hit, but we'll get close. And I'm kind of getting cheeky with it, and I'm going to place a bid there and hope it fills.
Very good. Okay. Look, short and sweet today, people. We're going to be live on Wednesday. So we want you to join us. The whole point of being live is to interact with you, take your questions, help you out. So look, set a reminder and make sure you follow Baloo's channel as well. It's a real pleasure to have this guy on Hard Forking once a week with us. Little bit of a bonus here over the weekend for you today. There's obviously been a lot of action, so he's kindly jumped on briefly for us. But make sure you follow Baloo, link below. We'll see you back here live on Wednesday with the two of us. Be careful out there, people. Exciting times, but make sure you know what you're doing. Do your research, and good luck to you. Thank you, Baloo. We'll see you Wednesday.
Cheers. Sounds good. See you then.
Okay. Bye now.